So this here is the district kitchen, and this was purchased and built with the last bond, and it serves its purpose really well, and it has kept us from having to buy our food from another district in order to have hot foods, and I think it will service a district for years to come. It's a great space and was a really great investment.
Yeah. All right.
We
We're
have
heading into the middle school lunchroom.
Our middle school lunchroom. So this is what we call the upper commons. And the upper commons serves as, obviously it's our hallways, it's our pass-through, and it is also where all the students eat at. So with grade levels upwards of 100 now, it's getting to be a pretty crowded space. There's not a lot of option for where you can sit. The kids can't get space in between themselves too often. And it is fairly loud for those classrooms that are to either side of the lunchroom area, especially when they start moving the chairs and things. It wasn't as big a deal when we first started out with this concept because the classes were closer to 60 students per grade level, and now we're looking at 100 and above. Mm-hmm. And so this is just one grade level. In the meantime, 7th grade is outside, so an 8th grade's here eating right now at this time.
This is the middle school music room.
So this room was intended for choir and band at the middle school level. There are some students in here practicing right now. This room serves as both choir and band, and so at the size we are now, it's a pretty compact area for accomplishing both of those items. Obviously, we need more storage for instruments. It is not adequate. We originally started out with this small closet for instruments, and now we have different racks and things around the walls and chairs. We don't have the setup going for choir right now. There's mobile steps and stairs back in this way, but definitely we're at a point where we need a band room and a choir room so that we can serve students at all levels and be able to offer both of those electives, and also those are requirements in the state of Montana. So.
Right. Maybe head down to the lunchroom? Do you think we...
Yeah, mind me on the way back to talk about life skills.
Okay. Here we go. This is what
I want you to see this.
Okay.
So here we have... So here we have a 3-minute passing. So we're going to see the 8th graders go into class, 7th graders will come in off the playground, 5th and 6th grade also will be moving about and heading to classes. So originally there was plenty of room to move through these spaces, but as we grow it gets more and more crowded. Oh, I just had...
It's so exciting, you just lost your train of thought. Not that far away.
So we often need additional chairs for different activities. Richard, these chairs here, we don't have a place to store them. So we've run out of storage. They're considering purchasing more storage, but we're waiting to see is that necessary. If we were to have another building, we would have a place obviously to put those.
Yeah.
So just some extra chairs hanging out there, something to move around. They're not always exactly right there. There were pictures here yesterday. All right, so let's see what it's like to do a passing. At this time, we have kids moving out of their classrooms, and also the 7th graders are coming in from recess. So let's see what it's like to go from the upper commons to the lower commons.
All right.
Take a peek with us.
Peek through the lower commons.
I'll let you go through.
Sure. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Hello, Miss Wilson.
So we generally try to help this out by having kids go down one way and up another way, but it's not always possible based on where their classrooms are at. So.
Hello, Miss
I'm not going to want to miss this, but I have a date with Kathleen's class.
Oh.
I'm going to bring Mark in, and we're going to do a dance demonstration.
Oh my goodness, I can't. When is this?
It's going to be on a Wednesday.
On a Wednesday sometime
We'll let
in the
you know.
future.
We need to
Please
figure
do.
it out.
Please let me
We need
know.
3 more dance lessons. So, yeah.
That's a must.
7th graders are coming in off the playground. What we call the playground. They really just have a basketball court in the woods area there. There's not much for middle school activity. but they do what they can there with the forest area.
Yeah.
So let's keep making our way down to 5th grade. Through this magical door is the middle school workroom for teachers. There is a single restroom in there with a single toilet. So imagine we have 30-something adults that work here, and they have 3-minute passing periods where they might get a tiny break to reach the restroom. And there's only one actual toilet for adults in this end of the building. And so that timing for a middle school teacher is everything when there's only one restroom with one seat. It's a one-seater. The passings wouldn't be such a problem if this were to be used as an elementary or intermediate area, as they are not doing these traditional 3-minute passings where teachers would maybe have a longer time at a recess in order to use restrooms or other things. So, and the hallways would not be quite loaded the same every hour if this were to be used for a middle level learner or an elementary area. So down here we have what is 6th grade. Originally we had some 6th grade classrooms here for social studies, we've got English, and the science and the science labs are here. Richard, this was when we first moved in here, we had some empty rooms.
Yeah.
And we were really imaginative. What can we do in some of these rooms? And over time, as the middle school has grown, and we're filling up all of these rooms, but also as the elementary has grown, and there's a lot of legalities to how many students you can have in a space and classes you must teach. And so we've moved 5th grade into this area that was originally meant for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Right. And I noticed too with your science area, you have one lab.
Yes, originally it would have been 2 classrooms that could share a lab. And, so those 2 teachers could share a lab and move in and out of that space. And the lab was empty. And the lab, I don't mean empty all the time, but it didn't have to be a home room, and it didn't have to have a teacher that was based there. Teachers could rove in and out of that space, even if they weren't the science teacher. I mean, anyone could have used the lab.
Right.
At this point, adding another science teacher, we now have just 2 rooms and a science lab, which is now and just basically a room, and they have to do all the labs in their other classrooms. So we've lost we have a wonderful lab, and we've lost the use of that for everybody because of the growth.
Because of the growth.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, should we go on to this side of the school here? That's more 5th grade classrooms, is that correct?
Right. So these are the 5th grade classrooms, Richard, that we moved from the other end of the school as the elementary is growing, and we value those class sizes, right? We're not going to stack those,
I do. I get class sizes.
Yeah, we're not going to overload those classes, and so we have retrofitted these for 5th grade, and we love having them here, but it just lets you know that the 6, 7, and 8 then became condensed too.
Sure.
And we don't have all that space that we thought we would have when we originally built the building, as elementary has crept on into the middle school area.
Right. Okay.
What about that thing right behind you there?
Oh boy.
Oh, I didn't even notice
Tell me
this,
about
Tina.
this area.
Tell me about this. What is going on in here?
Well, Richard, this is the lower commons. We call this the lower commons. This area is meant to be opened up, and these doors, these metal doors on these classrooms can open up, and this space can be used so classrooms can extend out and mix in this area. But now what has happened is that we actually have to use this area for classes, and they set up the number of desks that they would need at the time, and these are movable walls. So we've taken up this open space now.
I see.
And we
So
use
you had
it
to
for
partition
classes.
an area of common space
Yeah.
to make a classroom.
Took more common space, and instead now it's an enclosed space, and takes away the feel of the openness of the building a bit. But next year, this will have a class every period of the day. This will be someone's classroom.
Okay. All right. That's not a lot of space.
No, it's not.
Okay.
This is its door.
Can you shut the door, please?
I can. I could just
Before
shut
we
her
leave.
down right there.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
we're thankful for having purchasing these, but we wish we never had to.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's head up the ramp here.
This is a situation here where we have a storage issue again that moving the 5th grades in, they use a different type of seat. And so when those were purchased, these are seats that will be needed for future middle school. I don't have a place to store them right now, or we don't. And so they're kept. And this is another area that kids used to like to use. They could sit here, they could work together. A teacher could bring a class out. The class could have sat in the commons, and it's a place to show films and things. And we've lost the usability of the space. the artwork. It's beautiful. These are art rails. They were working on camouflage.
Hello, Mr. Nickerson. Good, how are you?
Traditionally,
Yeah, tell me what's going on with this.
well, this was our art room. Traditionally, this was meant to be the middle school art room. And there's no sinks in the rooms here in this area, and there are 2 sinks out here. Richard, there's one over there and one here that can be used for kids
Okay.
to hand wash, and we can use them at meal times and things. And the art department used that, but they've outgrown that to be able to teach art and have kids coming here and using those sinks.
Okay.
So we actually moved the art room out of this nice space and
Yeah.
put it up towards the elementary where there was a room with a sink in it.
Right.
But that kind of pushed middle school then towards elementary. But they do have the
Right.
use of a sink and facilities and storage then. So,
Okay.
so now this is it's another math room. It's
Right.
another math room. So we lost our art room to a math room, and it's kind of a little bit of a do-si-do, but not.
Yeah.
So. The seating in here right now, like I said, we have seating here in the Commons for about 100 students. And how many are in that class coming up from 4th grade? How many? will there be?
4th grade is at 101 right now.
Ooh, 101. So when we see that, often a 12% growth from 5th grade to 6th grade, we see a big growth
Right,
in the class.
right.
They'll be well outside of this seating area.
Right.
It'll be outgrown. So, are you curious about this, Richard?
Yeah, I would really love to know what's going on with this purple wall here.
This purple wall wraps
But-
around the library,
Oh,
and it leads
okay.
us to our life skills room.
All right.
So our life skills room was originally meant for students who are learning at more of a life skills level, and they're learning things that they would be using, skills for life. Basically, I can skills for life. So when we built this, there wasn't that great a need. I have a few students in
Right.
mind that it
Uh-huh.
was built around, but now we have several students at
Yeah.
every grade level, potentially, that
Do
would
you
be
have
using this room.
things for them to be able to learn life skills? Do you have a kitchen? Or
Do you want
have
to see it?
Sure.
Okay.
I'd like to see it.
I think that they can learn and they're doing the best they can
Yeah.
in this space, but they don't have a traditional life skills area.
Okay.
There's a sink, but it's not adequate for like washing dishes. There's a sink right here. So this is their sink area, and they just have a single sink. It doesn't have a separation, and it doesn't have a large enough space for them to even put tubs in here, for them to even wash dishes in a traditional way. They have a kitchen, a makeshift kitchen, and as I always say, I'm blessed for what we do have, but this is not ideal for, they use a hot, what do you call this here, like a little toaster oven? And I think they have a hot plate and a microwave that they use, and this would be their kitchen that they're using there.
So what would a typical life skills situation be like in the middle school?
I think that they would, at minimum, have an adequate sink area to mimic what they would in real life to be able
Okay.
to keep things clean and to wash their house. And they would probably have a stove, a refrigerator, mimicking what you would have in your kitchen.
Sure, okay.
Mimicking what we have in any of our kitchen is what a middle
it.
school life skills student should be able to
Should
fix
be
some
able to
basic
have.
meals
Okay.
and do some basic cleaning.
Okay. Tell me about this room. What is this?
So this here is the middle school counselor's office. I'm going to make sure that nobody's inside of here because it's kind of a private area, and that
Okay.
is the situation here. As
Oh, man.
that is a situation, is that in the middle school, she's got some projects going on with kids right now. So there's some interesting things out here. But in a middle
Right.
school, there's usually an area where kids can, or in any school, where kids can relax and be able to
Take a
bring
breather.
take a break, take a breather,
Okay.
bring those emotions in, whether they were waiting for her when she was with another student or
Okay.
just to be kind of in an area, just to have that space. So we can't do that. If she's with someone else, then we have a child that's upset. They're, then we're looking at where do we put that kid while she's serving a child in front of her.
Right.
And then not a common area or meeting space for her if she's meeting with a family, or maybe she has a school psych and the principal and
Right, there's a
calling,
meeting going on.
Really minimal space in here.
Yeah.
And you would like it more of an area to be able to do an activity with a kid where they're not, she's done her best to make this cozy,
Yeah.
but really a small space for a counselor's office,
Right.
and then for an area that you would be able to have a cool down place for kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we should take a trip back to the foyer or back this way.
Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted to see